Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Veronica and I am an ISTP. So today I just wanted to share with you all a little bit about how I, as an ISTP, express and experience my emotions. So ISTPs kind of have the stereotype of being totally unemotional, but I am a female and I do still have emotions. But in general, I would say I am fairly private about my emotions. In a sense, I have a strong sense of inner control over my emotions. So I'm just not quick to actually express on the outside what I'm feeling. So one example of this is like, I might watch a movie with my sisters and there have been times where they're just sobbing uncontrollably after the movie, and I might have had like a few tears when the lights are out, but otherwise I am much better at like controlling those emotions and not letting them kind of come to the surface in that way. But on the other hand, I'm not really that great at having control over my emotions, because it's when I don't want to express my emotions that I have good control, but as soon as I try to express my emotions, it can cause me to totally lose that sense of inner control. And so an emotion that might have just like come and gone and not really affected my life can actually get way worse when I try to express it. So it's not even that, because it comes out like it's a really extreme emotion when I express it, but it's not even that the root of that emotion was that extreme. It's almost like the trauma of trying to express my emotion is so extreme that it makes the emotions even worse than they were. So even though I know it's healthy to express emotions and to like not bottle things up, I'm not really always sure that it's what I should be doing, because sometimes it seems to just make the issue even worse than it ever was. Like, it never would have been a big deal, but it becomes a big deal. So when I was a kid, I was really stoic about just about everything. So one example is when my youngest sister was born, my parents called our school. I was in second grade. My parents called the school to tell us that our baby sister had been born. And so they call us down to the office, and the office ladies are like, "Oh, your sister was born." And I didn't react at all on the outside. Like, I didn't say anything and I didn't show anything. I just stood there blankly. And on the inside, I was like crazy excited, but on the outside, I looked blank. And so the office ladies thought that I was actually really sad about having a new sister. Another example is also when I was little, my parents would put us to bed every night, and they'd say, "I love you," and you'd say, "I love you" back. But I apparently would never say "I love you," so they had to make a game out of spelling out the phrase "I love you" in order to get me to actually say it. So as I've grown older, I've definitely become much more expressive with my emotions, but that's really only with emotions that I consider to be less private and more surface level emotions. However, I do tend to express it in very extreme ways. So if I'm saying how I feel about something, or like a preference of mine, I tend to use very emphatic language, and I've had a lot of people like comment on how extreme my facial expressions are when saying these kinds of things. And so it's like I almost have these two sides of me. When I'm talking about my thoughts, I'm very fair and exact and specific in my language, but as soon as it's dealing with an emotion, I'm super dramatic and extreme and kind of unrealistic in the way I describe it. So trying to express deep emotions, though, is a totally different matter. I find it extremely difficult. Usually I'm not entirely sure what I am feeling, so that holds me back. Also, usually I have no intention of sharing what I'm feeling, so that also holds me back. But in the rare case that I do decide I want to, or that I should for some reason, share some like really deep, or not even necessarily deep, but like really private emotion, it's like extremely difficult. I find that the emotion actually like gets stronger and stronger in my mind, kind of like what I was talking about before. And it's like this little emotion that's deep in this vault that doesn't feel too big, once it's brought out, becomes like massive in my mind. And my mind starts running frantically, and my thoughts are just like no longer like, I can't grasp them. They're like swimming around like back and forth all over the place. And so I find that I don't even have the clarity of mind to find a word I need or figure out how to express myself. And I don't know if anyone's heard of selective mutism, but it's this thing that I like got really into researching at one point because I found it so relatable. But it's usually like in kids where they're perfectly capable of talking and they will talk a lot at home maybe, but at school or something they'll be like totally silent, and they'll kind of report it feeling like they want to talk, but they feel like totally inhibited, like they don't know how to get any words out, or they don't even make a sound. And obviously I don't have that, but when I'm experiencing a really deep emotion and my mind is like going crazy like that, it like feels so difficult to say anything. It's like I want to speak, but I feel physically inhibited. Like trying to even get a word or even a sound out of my mouth feels like trying to pull a freight train. However, I usually do end up succeeding eventually, but when I do, my emotions come out in a very blank, stoic, and really quiet way. It's usually very understated when I finally do express what I was trying to express. So it's like on the inside, my mind is like going crazy, like thoughts are going everywhere, everything's blowing up, but on the outside I shut down completely. So yeah, there's probably more I could say about that, but I feel like that covers generally a lot about my emotions and how I express them. So that's kind of awkward to make, but thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Let me know if any ISTPs out there can relate to that at all. Thanks.